You ready?
Yeah, I thought you had a one-liner.
I do have a one-liner, but it's not really a great one-liner. It's just one-liner.
Well, don't sell yourself short. Okay.
Welcome to another edition of Kentucky Commons Radio Hour. Tonight we're doing spooky things in the cellar of Monnik.
In my old Kentucky home. Kentucky.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Kentucky Commons Radio Hour. I am your host for this special spooky edition. The mischievous Michael Moeller, joined today by the jack-o'-lantern John Ronayne.
Do you have just a list of adjectives related to Halloween?
David Dracula Satterley.
Yes, he does.
And we're here in the cellar of Monnik, and this is, if you've ever wanted to join the Patreon, this is the time to do it because of the video content that we have going on right now. But we're not just down here alone; we're also joined by one bloody buddy.
Okay.
And one beastly Brian Holton. Buddy's the brewer at Monnik. Brian's one of the co-owners here and founders. And seriously, I can't even describe how weird this setup is right now. It's like dark down here. We've got candles, we've got beers, we've got glow sticks. Probably going to be like a midnight poker tournament here in a little bit. So we're all celebrating Halloween, and I think David has a vision for this, so I'm going to let him take it away.
Indeed, I do. And we're talking about beers that are slowly fading away. So we have the last six-pack of existence of Kaiser von Schnitzelberg.
Until next year.
Until next year.
Which was blindly rated Kentucky Commons Radio Hour's #1 favorite Oktoberfest to drink through tubes a couple weeks back.
And if you've ever drank through a tube, I'm going to suggest the tube be shorter because we did inhale lots of air, which created a significant amount of beer gas and bloat.
And we might have sucked a little bit of each other's juices on accident.
Okay, I
There's gotta
never.
be a better way to say that.
Yeah, you can't say that ever again. But yeah, if you watch our Oktoberfest episode, this beer came in right at the tippy top of the tasting, and I really enjoyed it. And we're probably gonna see the last of it tonight.
Should that be an ongoing tradition? Whoever wins the blind tasting Oktoberfest, we shoot a spooky Halloween episode? Presumably it'll always be a
only
Monnik.
if they have a cellar with candles and tasting, and it's spooky.
Deal.
Spooky. But anyways, since we are in the cellar, we're going to taste a couple of beers that have been cellared for a while. Came from the cellar. We'll be in the cellar maybe a little longer. And the first one for Halloween that we're going to do here is provided by Bloody Brian. Is that what it was? Is that an English term?
Yeah.
You're gonna do the bow first.
Let's do this. This is Bo and Luke. Do you want to talk about Bo and Luke? You know a lot about Bo and Luke.
Yeah, this Bo and Luke bottle is from the first batch that was hewn at Against the Grain in Louisville, Kentucky. Collaboration betwixt Against the Grain and Brouwerij de Molen out of Holland. This is an imperial stout that's smoky and strong, but this is, I might reiterate, the first batch, which I don't know if it was done in like 2012 or 13 or when it was done, but it's old.
Brian, your old fashions here.
Thank you, George, for delivering the old fashioned.
I guess. And why is Holland special to you, Brian? Are you going there soon?
Holland is a very nice place, and it is
I love
a place
Holland Oats.
that I will be going to in the next few days. So will Buddy. We're both going to be traveling there.
Excellent.
Hanging out with family and friends, and then also brewing a beer at Jopen, a brewery in Harlem.
That's awesome.
So this, as I already said, Bo and Luke is probably 8 or 9 years old.
Incredible.
But we would have to ask those guys when they brewed the first batch.
They were Against the Grain. I give them credit for the Bo and Luke. They were one of the first people
Pours
in
get
Louisville
taller
that
as
started
you go.
doing those like beer release events, a la Dark Lord. Or
We
whatever.
don't know what Ferris was doing back then.
That's true. Their double Bach every spring was probably something to wait in line for. with your goat. This smells good. Cheers, guys. Happy Halloween.
Cheers to
Cheers.
Boo and Luke.
You son of a bitch.
This is really one of those beers that I do think gets better with age because the smoke kind of dies off.
Yeah, this holds up great.
But it's still a little peaty.
It's thinned out a little than last time I've had it, I would say, unless my palate's just in a different place, which is possible.
This is nice.
And I also think probably the last few that I've had of this have been their different like flavored variants that they do. So it's kind of nice to like get the original.
13%. Easy 13%.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Drinks like 6
Yeah.
after 9 years.
She's real tasty.
Well done against the grain.
I think this is a good time to talk about. Basically, I want to know as far as Halloween goes. Were you ever really scared as a kid? And what was it?
Yeah, but of weird things, not like of like monster movies, but well, so clowns always. And then one time on Easter, my parents took me to like a Holiday Inn brunch buffet, and there was like this person dressed up as the Easter Bunny.
That's the wrong holiday.
Well, but it was the most scared I've ever been in my entire life because they wanted me to get a picture with the Easter Bunny. But then luckily, right before it was my turn to go, I should have also mentioned there was a pool in this room. The Easter Bunny fell into the pool. And I guess the guy probably almost died because falling into a pool with one of those costumes on, probably not the best situation. But I did escape my fate that day because the Easter Bunny got all wet in a Holiday Inn pool. Yeah, so that was my scariest childhood memory, I think.
Buddy, do you have any scary stories? You don't look like you're scared of much. Except the 3 people that are staring at you right
I
now.
mean, specifically Halloween, no. But
No?
we lived close to Fort Knox, so there was always booms going on. And during Desert Storm, for like the full period of time, I was like, this is the end. This is it. Every time there was a big enough boom at night that woke me up, I was like, well, here we go. They also flew across, like over our property in those big C-130s, but they were pretty low. And I was always watching for people to parachute out to come and attack us in our tiny little podunk town in Kentucky. So that was my greatest fear as a child.
Yeah,
So you
that's very real.
You edged out the Cold War, but you did have to live through Desert Storm level panic.
Yep. And then one of my buddies, his dad brought back a bunch of vials of Desert Storm sand, which I still have somewhere. So it was a totem to remember that there's nothing to be scared of.
I like it.
Just sand.
It's good.
It was just sand, yeah.
Brian, were you scared of anything in particular? Maybe dinosaurs? I don't know.
No. I don't have anything that comes to mind. When I was a kid, I had a few instances where I almost died that were scary, but it was not anything in particular that scared me.
Just mortality itself.
Just, yeah.
Death. Death is
Just
scary.
death itself.
Existential dread.
For me, it was definitely chainsaws. I just couldn't hear them, couldn't listen to them. It was done. Doesn't matter.
Well, that's like the classic haunted house. Like they come at you with those too.
Yeah, and you really don't know if there's a chain on it or not.
Yeah.
Okay, and it
Yeah.
sounds
There was not.
all the same, but it sounds the same. It sounds the exact same. And when you hear that and they come after you, you run fast. And if you trip, that's even worse. And
Yeah.
I definitely didn't trip, but just saying that would be something to be scared of.
Mueller, would you like to
You
share?
have an answer here.
Would you like to share?
I do. I mean, yeah, when I was in high school, the 2008, housing market crash was pretty scary.
Jesus Christ.
Put us all in a really rough position. I didn't
That's
know
true.
what was going to happen the next day. So
You were like a sophomore.
When I was 8, I was just watching my 401k just go down, 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 like every day. You couldn't turn on the news.
very scary.
Worrying about your future.
No, okay, but for real though, what about? And I don't mean to make light of this, but it's just how kind of scary it was. How like we had different threat levels.
Oh yeah.
After 9/11, that we were just like, oh, we're in the orange now. Like, oh, things are slightly worse than it was yesterday. That was kind of scary, as somebody that was young.
Yeah. I'm gonna go deep state for a second. Contrived fear, man. The old TSA, the
I mean,
old
maybe.
security levels.
Sure.
Jeez Louise, and look where we are now.
But I was also like pretty young.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
So-
effective. Yeah. PsyOps, man.
And we had 24-hour news network channels on all the time.
Exactly.
So that's just what was on TV.
Yeah.
That's good beer.
It's very good.
It is.
Super, super holding up.
It tastes nothing like the age statement or ABV. But still kicking in. And they did these in these like giant, large format bottles too. Like
9 years old.
Yeah, you would think, coming out of a barrel and going into a bottle, and at the early stage of their being open, there would be some compromise to, something would have gotten in there that could have turned that beer sour or whatever. But it's not. It's good.
For those that aren't familiar with this, and I don't want to harp on Bone Luke for too long.
I thought it was Boo and Luke.
Moo. Just read that label. Like, just describe the label for people that don't know that aren't in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. So Against the Grain famously used Robbie Davis for all of their art. He created these characters, Smoke, and the other one was Barrel?
Probably. Something like that.
Yeah, so these guys are harbored up here, like Dukes of Hazzard style on General Lee, which I don't even know is like a PC term now, but it definitely existed in the show. I can't read the label because
it's dark down here.
Candlelight.
I will read it by candlelight. It beats all you ever saw. This barrel-aged ale uses staple ingredients, barley, rye, corn, plus cherrywood smoked malt to create a huge imperial stout. To top it all off, we barrel-aged the beer for 3 Kentucky months, which I'm assuming is like the normal time of a month.
Probably.
Yeah, but the result is a rich and complex imperial smoked stout with hints of caramel, vanilla, and spice. And I don't get a lot of vanilla, but yeah, and it's 13%. But this at the time, complete game changer in the barrel age world. But I do think we should try something a little spookier. I know I've had this beer. I think Buddy's had this beer. Michael's had this beer, but John has not.
Yeah,
So
let's try it.
we're gonna put our resident taster to the test here.
Now, is there a gimmick here? Like, I don't know what it is, and I just try to
You don't know what
just
this is.
describe. No, I don't know what it is.
Correct.
You just want me to like describe what I taste.
I want you to do what you do best.
So let me tell you more about the deep state. Then it's
We're here for this.
yeah. No, I can see it's in a really nice, fancy bottle. It's
you-
corked.
Have you heard of icebergs?
Please don't even get me started.
If you're gonna start, you better go.
Is there an iceberg conspiracy theory?
No, the iceberg is the tip of the conspiracy.
Okay,
theory
like the
because you
iceberg
see
tier or whatever?
The top
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
iceberg, but there's so much underneath of it.
Birds are fake.
Birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. That's
Yes.
right. Chemtrails,
Yes.
flat Earth, simulation theory. So it's a beautiful color, this beer that we're getting poured here, especially by candlelight.
Pyramids.
The pyramids were. I don't know what the best pyramid conspiracy theory is. They were power plants made by the ancient Egyptians to power their light bulbs that they had for some reason.
Correct.
Nonprofits masquerading as real estate companies.
Yep, exactly right.
We just don't know their calculators. That's all.
The Illuminati.
So I'll give you the name of this beer. It is barrel aged. It might even be a little more than barrel aged, but it is called Thought and Memory.
Okay. Well, it's so first of all, especially in the candlelight, as I mentioned, it's a beautiful color. I don't know if it'll pick up on camera. It's probably too far. Nice lacing on the glass. I'm guessing we're obviously going to be at a higher proof here.
Thought and memory being the translation of the names of the 2 crows of Odin.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I don't know how to pronounce it, but we kept saying Huggin and Munnin.
Okay, I'll take it. That works.
It's probably Hugin and Moonin.
So, and then in addition to this, you also have Odenstadt on.
Odinatsa is
That Odenstadt.
the Russian for the number 11.
But we're gonna call it Odin for the sake of this
Odin.
pun.
Yes.
Do you guys make any beers that are easy to pronounce?
Hawks. Well, actually, that's not that easy.
I thought it was Hugin and Moonin.
That's not what it's called.
So the notes on this are super interesting. A big kind of like, it's kind of halfway between, to me, it's like halfway between like floral and cherry kind of fruit with a little bit of raisiny, like plumminess kind of coming off of it. Not much hoppiness to speak of. Kind of some of that like melanoidin family of malt, but like that could be decocted Pilsner for all I know.
It's not decocted Pilsner.
Ooh, that's really good. That's super, super tasty. Wow. It's deep cherry going on towards plum kind of flavor. It's very, very nicely balanced. You said it was barrel aged?
Mhm.
I could not guess what the barrel is.
Lean into the fruit.
Okay, brandy or something like that. Okay, yeah, that's really, really, really nice.
Sorry, was I not supposed to give him a hint?
No.
Well,
no.
I would have gone for. I couldn't pick up any booze, but brandy definitely makes sense with it. Yeah, it really, really picked up that cherry character. It's deep and it's dark, and it's like actually as it sits on my tongue, it's coming forward even more with that like kind of on the tip of your tongue cherry thing. That's really good, but it's not sweet. It's super clean and well finished. It's very, very nice.
So big reveal is it was double that we put down. We had 2 apple brandy barrels and then 2
nice
grape brandy barrels. And
okay.
Back blended them. So I think the grape comes through, but it's more of
Now that you say grape, I pick it up. But yeah.
But it's
took that.
evolved grape. It's more like raisiny than it is grapey. And then there is I pick up a little bit of like the deep oak character, like that coconut kind of extraction of
I would get
wood.
more like vanilla than I do like coconut, but I can see where you're going with that too. Yeah, that's fantastic, guys. That's great.
This is a great beer. Great work on this. This is exactly what I want to drink in the winter.
100%.
And this is going to be released during Louisville Beer Week, I believe.
Yep. So it I believe Sunday is the release date. So
Wow, people have to get a bottle of this. This is fantastic.
So we'll have it on draft as well as bottles.
Hell yeah.
We did 6 cases of bottles, which is fun because you can put some down to hang on to and see how it evolves. Case in point with the Bow and Luke.
Yeah. This is something I think will just get better and better and better.
And these
collectible.
are bottle conditioned? Or?
Yep, bottle conditioned. The kind of our approach for any of the cellar stuff that we do, we have a Kelder series and a Classic series. Classic series is anything that would be normally conditioned in a bottle. We do anything that qualifies as that Kelder series is barrel aged. This happens to kind of come together with both of those categories, but it's one of those things when you barrel age something and then you try to get some carb up in the bottle.
The carb is perfect on it.
It's worrisome
like,
that it won't ever get where you want it to get.
No, it's great, man.
So.
It's not overcarbonated at all, but it just effervesces on your palate and just brings the flavors out. And it's super, super good.
And the first time we tried this, I think I told you, I was like, I have never tasted a beer like this.
I was gonna say usually with these like big bottles, like Bow and Luke, for example, like I'll pour myself some of that and then I'll just like sip on it for like a couple hours or whatever. I can't stop drinking this. This just I keep going back.
So the biggest thing that I think, as far as like the evolution of the base beer, was how the Belgian candy sugar kind of expressed itself over time, where it was less of the brown sugar and more of that like weird, rich, caramelly stuff.
I think that's what I'm kind of getting with that melanoid-y type flavor
exactly.
or whatever. Yeah, Belgian candy makes sense there too. That's really, really nice. Super good.
It's just a super elevated double. Like a double is pretty much like cut and dry. You know what flavors you're getting out of that. That barrel adds so much to that.
And it's fun to see more stuff like this coming in Louisville. Like you guys have been pioneers on doing these barrel. We're down in the barrel cellar right now. So there's like a lot more little secret projects back in the wings here.
Yeah.
But more and more breweries around town too are starting to kind of lay things down and kind of let them do what they're going to do. Mile Wide has done some fantastic barrel aged stuff. I know, like obviously Against the Grain does a ton, but everybody now is kind of putting out something exciting, at least, once or twice a year that you want to seek out. I put this at the top of that list.
It's starting to get that way, but when we've been on the road recently, this is just what we've been asking folks, because I always feel like people outside of Kentucky get better access to barrels than Kentucky breweries do. And that's through different barrel brokers. There are some large companies out there, in Missouri and like in Mississippi. What does barrel sourcing look like for Monnik?
So I've been lucky enough to kind of create a new relationship with a gentleman at Bardstown Bourbon, where like his family and my family grew up in the same area. Like his people know my people. And so anytime I go out there, I'll take a t-shirt and a couple 6-packs and a blank check.
Hell yeah,
that's
man.
barrel sourcing from Monnik.
I love
and then
it.
he'll, after we talk about whatever, he'll be like, "Oh man, you're good." And
That's
so
awesome.
Not to reveal too much, but he's been a great partner in that. The brokers are really tightening up on what stuff gets back out into the market, because when you buy new oak, they want old oak back as part of that transaction. So we've been lucky enough, like I said, to kind of establish this relationship. But I know there are places where you can go and roll up and buy a barrel for, I think they're $130, $150.
Oh,
We're just like
That's
we're
a
just pay attention to your
tax.
Instagram DMs and just
Yeah. But yeah, the whole point of any of this is forming a partnership and a relationship where two entities can invest in something, and when those beers get released, sharing that with him and his team is going to be a big deal to me.
We have a relationship with Copper and Kings.
Copper and Kings is great. Brandon and his team are wonderful about when they have something cool.
Yeah, they do a lot of
These
cool stuff.
brandy barrels came
That's
from.
where the brandy
Oh,
barrels
okay.
come
Nice,
from.
nice.
We got the Laraja. I don't know if you guys remember that.
yes.
Was
That was the Curacao.
Curacao.
Yeah.
And yeah, those guys are great partners, and it's always nice, like I said, when it comes time and those beers come out, to then reach out to those guys because they're around spirits all day. They light up like it's Christmas when you bring a 6-pack of beer.
and likewise when they bring you some spirits.
Yeah, like when they
Like
give
the
us
spirits of Halloween.
exactly.
Ooh.
Ooh.
As an aside, if Monnik does happen to want some absinthe finished rye barrels, let me know off air because that's a new thing. Anyway,
I think I want some absinthe finished dry barrels.
right? Should also just let's just decide this right here now on the podcast. No editing required because we never do it. Should we go on like Facebook Live or Instagram Live or something just for a few minutes?
Yeah,
just
pull that. We'll just start it. We'll continue the
to
conversation.
have some weird fun with this.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to do this one?
What's that?
So, have you guys heard about? I don't even know if I'm going to pronounce it right. Thiols. Thiols. Thank you, buddy.
I think it is thiol. Is that? Are you referring to the yeast that needs a precursor?
So it's a new thing, and so my question is it more science, or is it more marketing, or is it actually a pretty good place where those two things kind of converge? For those who don't know, it's basically a bioengineered yeast that I think Omega originally created, or they might have taken it from escarpment. I don't know if you know the origin of where these things came from.
It is on my radar as I've heard the name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Not
well,
something I've
they
gone deep
started
into.
using it because I know that there's like Thiols is just another one of those little. It's kind of like a terpene. It's just another one of those like little like essential oily, flavorful chemicals that shows up a lot in grapes. I know a lot of wine yeasts were originally known for like thiol production, which is what you get in a lot of like the. I'll screw up the styles if I try to get specific, but my understanding is it's a lot of like the lighter, fruitier, kind of like German summer wines, Rieslings, and Gewürztraminers and things.
Gewürztraminer.
Yeah. So they basically figured out how to get those, yeast are traditionally known for turning sugar rather into alcohol and carbon dioxide. In addition to that, in your Hefeweizens or your Belgians, you're also getting ester production and some phenol production. I guess these yeast additionally will throw off these little thiols that they get out of the hops. What are you opening over
It's
there?
a ghost.
Okay. It's a ghost. And if Scott were here with us, he would probably have a lot to say about hop biotransformation.
I was about to say, how does this relate to biotransformation?
It's essentially it's supposed to be another mechanism to encourage the biotransformation of those hop thiols through the metabolism of the yeast into, what's essentially just kind of like a different kind of ester that they're throwing off. I probably technically did not describe that scientifically perfectly, but that's kind of the gist of it. A lot of people have started experimenting with them. Did you guys said you'd played around with them a little bit? Okay, haven't done it yet.
Why didn't you just say this is the new hotness?
It's new hotness. That's
New
what I
hot
should have
shit.
said. Yeah, it's the new hot shit.
New hot shit.
I know Atrium did one here recently. I know Milewide's been playing around with them a little bit. And this is one from friend of the show and excellent home brewer who was recently at GABF with his collab with West Sixth from Evan Brill.
Evan Bro?
Yeah, so thank you for this, Evan.
Let's go.
But he made a Thiol IPA, and like nobody makes IPAs better than him, and really has an understanding for all these things. So I thought we could crack it, try it, see what the hype is all about, or see if it's just.
And he has a canner.
Yeah,
That's next level.
That's next level.
Well, he is a seamer.
Like an October thing? Like an October thing, or
Yeah, I think it's like a cannular, but same idea.
Yeah, we actually, Michael and I had the opportunity to go to GABF when I actually ran into Evan there as well. So he got to go out and have his beer on tap there. He won West Six's homebrew contest that they have, and then when they select a winner, they brew it up on the big system and then distribute it out. So we got some of that in Louisville. It's cool that a Louisville person took home that little victory at Alex. But yeah, Evan makes some really good stuff. So if there's anything cutting edge and he's working with it, I'm gonna put my ball in his court.
Yeah, and his IPAs, I've had like most of his hazies over the years, and they're already like stellar. He does them very, very, very well. So right off the bat, it's got a huge hop aroma to it. It's got a huge bouquet. It's very kind of like gives me those like just old kind of Galaxy vibes. Not quite as dank as that. It is more kind of passion fruity and bright. And I don't get any of that like cat pee or any of that kind of garlicky grassiness off the nose.
As an aside, while you're doing that, Matt Watson from Henderson says hi.
What's up, Matt?
Hey, Matt.
And then on the palate,
Is he still at Henderson? Is a question.
I don't even know if he's still on this live feed.
for his sake, I hope not.
Yeah. So the grassy oniony thing you speak of, or garlicky thing,
Yeah.
like the allium bite.
Yep.
Is what I always
Yep.
generally pick up on, something of this ilk that turns me away from the style. But
Is
yeah,
that-
I'm not getting any of that necessarily.
Yeah,
so.
especially in the nose. The nose to me is actually bigger than the mouthfeel. And we did just drink Bo and Luke and a barrel aged brandy ale. So like, my palate's not completely fresh here.
Is that what it's called? Allium?
That's like
that's
the
the
family of
family of-
vegetable or of like
of garlic,
grasses or
onion.
whatever
Okay.
those
No,
are.
that's great. Like for judging purposes, I've never really known what to call that, and that totally makes sense because you told me it did, not because I knew that.
And then I would say, to me, honestly, the aroma surpasses the flavor on this. Not to say that the flavor is off, but the aroma is huge for the amount of hops that come through on my palate. And again, my palate might be blown out right now.
Speaking of blowing out pallets, I'm gonna go get some barrel samples.
Hell yeah, man.
What that?
But no, this is really nice.
Who's
I'm still of the opinion that this might be more of a marketing thing than it is like a game-changing thing. I've had, I guess, probably a dozen customers in the shop that have been either drinking these around town or playing around with the different yeasts. And I would say 75% of people kind of come back not underwhelmed, but just whelmed. It's kind of marketed like it's going to be a game changer for IPAs and for like everything in general, juicy bombs or whatever. And everybody's like, yeah, it was good. Made a good IPA. I think that's how I feel about it.
Maybe they just haven't figured.
Yeah.
They just haven't figured it out yet. The
Yeah.
science is there. It's like that and cold IPAs right now.
Yeah. What is a cold IPA?
IPL.
Yeah, it's a cold fermented IPA.
So like Victory Prima pills.
Yeah, it's probably better because it's IPA. Not
Okay.
I have a rational dislike of Victory Prima, but
Are you kidding me?
yeah, I really don't.
I really like Prima pills a lot.
I don't like Golden Monkey, like I don't know. It's something in there. Maybe this was probably like 7 years ago. I just wrote it off. And maybe I've developed, but
I would encourage you to try it again. It's a good beer.
hey Brian, if you don't burn down the brewery, we can still record this podcast. But
So thank you, Evan, very much for bringing this to us. Fantastic sample, and I really like it. Honestly, at the end of the day, my question is just Thiols, man, what's up?
what did you do? What did you do?
The other new trend is India grape ales. Have you had any of those yet?
An IGA?
IGA.
Isn't that a grocery store?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because this is the content you're here for, folks. But yeah, I guess for Beer Week this year, Atrium again is playing around with one. Is that will this be released after it's out?
No.
All right. Well, never mind. They
No.
can tell you about it.
Scrooge.
All right. Well, follow them on social, and you can see it and experiment,
Or don't.
or don't,
Don't
Or
follow
do.
anybody ever.
except for Monnik.
Yeah. Follow your heart. That's what you should follow, not breweries. If you hear that knocking back there, that's Buddy playing with his little barrels.
I'll edit out the dead air while he's grabbing the beers.
That's fine. I was just gonna ask if anyone had a favorite Halloween movie, one that really like shook you to your core.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
That is a good Halloween movie. I agree.
That is a curse.
It's a Halloween movie too. It's like a seasonal movie.
Like you should have just said Coraline if that's what you were gonna say.
It is that same animation style.
You
Wait,
mean
so is
Tim
it,
Burton?
yeah, Batman Returns. Is it a
That counts.
Is it a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife.
Buddy, we're trying to podcast over here. Just kidding. Carry on.
This ghost.
My wife is not a Halloween person. She doesn't love Nightmare Before Christmas. I love Nightmare Before Christmas. My kids love Nightmare Before Christmas. But every time it comes on, my wife wants to debate whether it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie. And it doesn't matter. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Story.
What if
It's
you
a good
watch it
thing.
on Halloween and Christmas, like that Blink 182 song? When
Is
they
that a
have
song?
they have Halloween on Christmas.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
Are you guys going to buy tickets to see Blink 182 on tour?
No, because I watched a TikTok of someone. No, and where's Tom DeLonge? But
Hey, coming back to the aliens, it all comes full circle.
no, I did see a really good trend of this person documenting all the other concerts they saw and the amount they spent, and it was like 6 concerts before they totaled the amount of money they would spend on one concert ticket to Blink 182.
Aren't tickets like $1,200 or something?
They're not cheap.
That's insane.
Too rich for my blood.
Too rich for my blood.
My brother in Christ, I would like all of you to see Blink 182, but if you can't, you can't. So, but yeah,
You know what I like are the like Halloween anthologies. There's one called Trick or Treat. You ever seen that one?
no.
It's about this like little goblin guy who runs around this like Halloween town.
Approximately what decade was this?
Late 2000s, I would say maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, circa 2010 or something like that. So Trick or Treat is one I would recommend for the crowds. One's I would let the right one in, the like Norwegian vampire movie. Guarantee you Buddy's seen that one.
Do we classify James and the Giant Peach as a Halloween movie?
Anything Raw Doll can go seasonal like that. Yeah. Raw Doll?
Raw dog.
Raw Dog? Anything Raw Dog is definitely seasonal.
Razzle.
Ooh, these look pretty.
Oh, the old razzle dazzle.
I don't think these are very chemically safe.
What are you guys doing over on that side of the table?
They're experimenting.
The meth lab section of the.
I smell hair. I smell hair.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, I do smell hair. It's that rotten egg. Is
that what you were looking for?
What are we doing?
This is old ale that was put down in April.
Very nice.
So New Year Old
Oh,
Ale,
sorry, Mike.
obviously the namesake means we put them down.
It makes me think cedar. What is going on?
We put them down, we age them for a year, and then we release. There was a gap with the COVID era where we rediscovered a 2019 barrel in 2021
Ooh, very nice. Wow.
and released it, limited supply, and it was unlike anything I'd ever had before. The description that I gave people was like old lady fruitcake.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it's
So-
definitely got some nose to it. It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
This is the fresh one.
this is
Not
fresh.
out,
This is middle of April is when we put it down, and this beer was brewed just to put down in barrels.
I'm still getting a ton of like aromas off of it. It's
The
very
fruitcake one was almost like a 2-year.
Yeah, so it was down. It was in barrels for 2 years, and was thought to be lost to time, but tasted amazing, and so we went with it.
super jammy.
This doesn't have any of that like trademark oxidation I would associate with the good oxidation, where you
No, it's
get
pretty
that
clean.
dark
Yeah.
fruit stuff. But it is also just 6 months in, so
Yeah.
Still all spice.
It's super spicy.
So you said this was made specifically for a barrel.
Yep.
How often do you see something like that and they're like, okay, I want to make this one recipe just for a barrel, but hey, we'll also release it like green verde just to put out there for sales purposes.
So Brian could speak to the Never Be Gold and Old Ale. Those exist as barrel aged releases, correct?
Correct.
So those were engineered to be barreled and released as barreled beers. Generally, when we decide what to put down into a barrel outside of that, so it'll be something that'll be on draft. So currently we have Basic Baltic Porter, which is 11.4% Baltic Porter.
Which, quick plug, if you have not stopped by and tried that and
Yeah.
understand that that's not even in a barrel yet, that is hot fire.
Well, that's one of the most fun things too about what you're saying is like tasting it when it's young and then being able to try it as it ages and develops. Like that's just like a whole nother level of experiencing beer.
Great candidates for that type of, let's put something in a barrel. If it's high ABV, instant qualifier. And also, would it benefit from the things that a barrel might give it? So when we put the double down specifically. We released it as itself last year in November. We put it down specifically because we wanted to see what would happen in those brandy barrels, and it turned out great.
Yeah.
We currently behind you have the base Baltic Porter, which we've mentioned, in 2 bourbon barrels. We have 2 Odin Notset Russian Imperial in the back in bourbon barrels. And then to your right from the back going forward is Foreign Extra Stout, 2 barrels of that, 2 barrels of Old Ale, and then 3 barrels of Never Be Gold.
Wow, that's exciting.
So the plan going forward for any of the stuff that comes down and becomes part of the Kelder series is I try to hit it in a rhythm of quarterly brewing something that would make sense in a barrel so that as we bring something up, there's something going down.
Yeah.
And once we strike a rhythm with that, we're talking about year-round, options for barrel-aged beers, and never inundating yourself with too much stuff in the cellar.
Yeah,
always kind of trying to strike that rhythm of something comes up, something goes down. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's good programming to have, and even the mindset of, hey, we're gonna do this. It's gonna go into a barrel. We're gonna wait, and that builds over time, and like a lot of foresight goes into that.
Yeah,
and then it's also a lot of chance.
Absolutely.
So,
the reality, which the glamour of seeing these giant, houses or the big cooler houses full of all of these barrels is not all those barrels make it to market. Like there could be something that happens in that barrel that makes it bad.
Yeah.
Something as simple as just it goes tart because it picked up some kind of lacto or acetobacter. Or full on nail polish remover, like it'll go full on acetone.
There's no coming back from that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say sometimes the fun thing about sour aging stuff too is it's like tastes like terrible sour watery nothingness, and then you like, do I dump it or do I keep it? And then you taste it again 6 months later, and you're like, whoa, okay, this is totally different now.
When I started doing mixed culture fermentations at home as a home brewer, because that's the natural thing, you get up to the point where you're like, I'm going to make lambic.
You do it 3 times and you're like, fuck this.
Well, when you smell it in the beginning, it smells like sewage because PDO is one of the first things that kind of works its way into the mix.
Yep.
And then it works itself out over time as far as like cleaning up those characteristics. But the first 6 weeks that something's down there and you go and smell the airlock, it smells atrocious.
Yeah.
So
and it looks even worse.
Yes. The first time that I popped a barrel aged sour with my own kind of like house micro blend.
Yeah.
It had a full on pellicle. Like I was like, okay, this is going to be disgusting.
I did one with my brew buddy back in the day with Ricky. Shout out Ricky. And like we put a whole bunch of tart cherries in there, and like I don't know what happened to it, but like it got gross, and then the gross got covered up by like an inch of snow, and then it got gross again on top of that, and then it grew another pellicle, and we were like, dude, you try it first. I'm going to try it. Are you going to try it too?
And it was good or
had
no?
to hype ourselves up, and then we drank it. It was very good.
Yeah. That's the
amazing.
weird part is like all the things that you try to protect the beer from when you go into that realm of beer making. It's like, fuck it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're down here in the cellar, bunch of barrels here. And for those that are halfway familiar with how barrels are stored, they're usually stored like on their side. But I do see this one barrel just here in the center of the room. Is that just like a table for you all?
The story behind that barrel is we got that is an Old Ale barrel. Sorry, so we have 3 Old Ale barrels. When I was doing my accounting earlier, I missed that one. We put those in. Those were freshly dumped barrels. Everything got racked down here. We have a really long series of jumps that gets us from down there through our cooler down to here. Which is great because it means that you're not moving full barrels. Obviously, that would be impossible. I came in the next morning and there was a trail of Old Ale on the floor going out the door, and that barrel was leaking. So I started scouring the internet for ways to fix said leaks. It was in the head. I torched it, hoping to expand the wood, caramelized the sugars to stop the leak. That didn't work. I started contemplating the little tiny shims that you can put in there to kind of retighten that seal. That didn't work. Was really upset because I knew that old ale was going to be amazing, delicious beer. Called the guy, my gentleman that I deal with at Barstow Bourbon. It's like, hey, our barrel's leaking. Would you have any tips? And he's like, well, let me get on the phone and I'll have my barrel guy call you. He calls me and he's like, so where's the barrel at? The barrel was oriented up against the wall, so the spot where it was leaking, I could barely get to. So I was like, well, it's up against the wall. He's like, it's leaking from the head? And I said, yeah. He said, is it leaking from both heads? And I said, no, it's just the one that's up against the wall. He's like, well, just stand the barrel up.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did and saved the beer. Just stood the barrel up.
Nice.
I since, after that, I wax sealed it. I'm at a point where I'm wax sealing all the bungs after the transfers are done. Is there a sound effect for when someone says bung?
Especially with wax sealing involved.
There you go.
Wax it.
It allows me to have a little bit of peace and security because the tightness of that bung into that bung hole
Children.
is not airtight.
Yeah.
And
if only.
And a lot of times, in revamping the cellar program down here, pulling those old wooden bungs, there would be fly larvae that
I hate that.
put themselves in there. And I don't think it got to the beer, but the fact that there was enough air gap that they planted themselves in there made me be like, well, we should just wax these when we're done. And then if the barrel's going to breathe, the barrel can breathe.
Hey, Brian, you're old fashioned.
So just so we're all clear, Brian is down here texting the staff upstairs to bring down old fashions as we're doing this. Which, thanks for getting me one.
That's what got me in trouble on Monday was the first old fashioned.
Hell yeah.
I've been doing sober October, and then we had a thing Monday where it was necessary to have a drink.
Yeah.
And then I got put into an Uber later in that evening.
I know how that goes.
But the old fashioned was the turning point. The gateway to the Uber. I don't know. Did I have two?
I'm on my side.
Okay.
For my own reference.
So thoughts on the progress of the old ale at this point?
I think it's fantastic.
I would say it's still super spicy, which I think is good because that should carry over into the finished product. I would like for it to pick up some more of that good oxidation fruit character. Good thing is we're gonna keep it down there for a few more months and see what happens.
You can just tell that it has like a ton of potential with how flavorful it is now and how much
Absolutely.
it's got going on. And barrel has very odd effect, like interesting. You'd think it would add flavor, but sometimes those tannins kind of balance things out in a weird way that I think is going to really work with that. Yeah.
I it's like a concept in bourbon, but like also like maybe tasting the individual barrels to put in and see if you get anything different out of them. I think that would be a good like thought experiment. I guess the intention probably is to blend the three of them together.
The goal is always to hedge our plan. So with the barrel aged double, the four barrels all tasted different. But when we did our test blend of those four, the whole tasted really good. Yes, this one had more coconut character. Would have been nice for that to stay more present in the foreground, but also the complication of trying to release four variants of the same beer can create logistical issues and production concerns. So we always taste individually. We make tasting notes on the barrels saying little hot, not enough barrel character, little tart, whatever we might be picking up from that barrel. And then when it comes time to blend, it's just a simple like 1-to-1, kind of pull a couple ounces, see how they work in a blend together. This, the revamping of this concept is young enough that we're really still kind of in the mix of what works for us. But the intent is to have a product that can be blended in the end. If one of them is a star and the other two are not as shiny, I want to highlight the star. So that doesn't mean those other two get lost or get dumped. But if one of them's perfect, I don't want to mess it up by trying to blend the wrong thing back into it. So
yeah. I just always remember the words of Linkin Park. In the end, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's true. You're right.
Which brings us to our next segment. Being Halloween, want to bring you guys a special treat out of my Satterley's special pumpkin
Out of your gourd.
out of my gourd. This is sponsored by Atrium somehow,
Okay.
but I want someone to put their hand in here. That's you, buddy. and pick out a trick or a treat.
It's a waxed bung.
It's a treat.
It's a birthday cake pastry sour.
Oh my God, you love these.
I love Spencer and the Maxes and Rubo. They are great guys and they make terrific beer.
Both Maxes.
Yeah, the Maxes.
But
Yeah, there's an I love you, but.
Well, they know that I'm not into some of these styles, and it's not because I feel like it's not like a snob thing or like, you know, it's not that. It's not about the purity of craft beer. I'm glad that they have the opportunity to sell these types of beers because I feel like the people that want these beers will show up and they'll have this, but they will also have the Czech Pilsner, or they'll have, you know, it's a gateway opportunity for them to kind of reach out to people that might not be super familiar with beer. I remember the first time I had Sierra Nevada as a 21-year-old, I dumped it in the sink because I thought something was wrong with it.
Yeah.
I thought it was bad. So this is a great opportunity to get somebody who might not have the palate of a seasoned beer drinker into an establishment that makes an array of delicious beers. I will drink this.
Well, since I knew you were going to hate that, I did bring a sneak preview of the Fall City and Atrium collab that they did. This is called Contractually Obligated. I'll let you make your own jokes.
I smell hair again.
Who
I think it's me.
It might be my like polyester Gandalf
just
robe.
burning hair.
You would go up like a torch.
Yeah.
Just like not Wormwood.
The flame of Undune shall not avail you.
No.
If
Who's
anyone
the guy
gets that
little-
reference,
no, who-
unsubscribe.
Wait, no. Who lit himself on fire and dough from the?
Denethor, Lord Denethor.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the steward, rather.
Yeah, the steward.
So back
I
on
shall
the
burn like the heathen kings of old.
Plug this.
back on the topic of Thiol beers.
Well, India Great Bills.
Actually, so this is kind of blend of both of those, I guess. This is contractually obligated Fall City Atrium collab they did for Louisville Beer Week, which I think they'll be mostly over by the time this comes out, but it's great beer. This is an inspired double in the IPA with Nelson Sauvin Motueka and Riesling Grape Must.
Okay. So they kind of are doing that like blending of grape juice and hops and barley wort.
The can's not open. Is it? No.
Yes, it is. I opened it.
I was about
Sorry,
to-
was I not supposed to open it?
No, I was about to make fun of John for pouring into a glass.
This with some mezcal would hit the spot.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's got a little like what triple sec vibe or something like that. Yeah.
Cointreau for the fancy people.
Mm-hmm.
I love Trillium.
Grand Marnier.
I'm not mad at this at all. This is good. This is great.
Yeah.
And
Great.
you said this is also Thiol.
I guess they use that yeast on
This
it.
is
Yeah.
a Thiol yeast.
Okay.
They were playing around with one of those Omega strains, Cosmic Punch, or it might have been the other one that I can't remember the name of right now.
And the goal is for bringing out something special in the hops.
Yeah, allegedly it's just better at turning, putting some of those hop oils into its metabolism and essentially excreting them as just a kind of a different kind of ester, as my understanding.
Biotransformation.
Yeah.
Yes, which is long disputed.
Yeah.
But I do like this
think
beer.
it's fake.
It comes out. It's so dry, like the Riesling.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does.
And the Nelson, which is always going to have that like pronounced character, but
Yeah, and those Nelson, all those New Zealand hops kind of bring that, the Nelson obviously, but like they bring that kind of white wine character out. So those play nice together. I'm not mad at that. I think that's really good.
Somebody who hates this kind of beer style in general, it's really good.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of my like favorite hazies I've had lately,
it's juicy.
except for Evan Brell's
Cheers,
Tank
guys.
7. Yeah, it's great.
Cheers.
Cheers to Fall City and Atrium.
All good dudes.
And old fashions.
And old fashions. And cheers to Mike. Thank you guys for letting us use your cellar and for giving us the pleasure of your company and all the good beer and the tastes out of the barrels. Most importantly, that was very, very special.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Do we have any predictions on what the popular Halloween costumes are going to be this year? I know a couple years ago it was Honey Boo Boo, but
House of Dragons stuff.
Jeffrey
I don't know.
Dahmer.
Ooh, you're right.
it's gonna be a fun
Son of a
Dahmer.
bitch.
fuck.
Yeah, I don't love this like Jeffrey Dahmer thing.
You think Stranger Things is going to be
Yeah.
around? Yeah.
Hookers. but wearing different themed clothing.
Yeah, like you dressed up like a doctor
Like stripes.
Yeah, like
or-
one will be a doctor, but also
A
with
hooker.
a hooker vibe.
or a pilot.
Yeah, pilot, but with hooker, and both ways.
Yeah,
How do you know?
yeah, it's just in the air.
Okay.
Have you ever been out to Baxter Avenue on Halloween?
That's fair. Yeah, Bart's End Road will be a mess.
Does anyone think? Yeah, Dahmer's a good one. I think Stranger Things is gonna. I recently saw one of my grade school friends dressed up as 11. He's a very
Jeffrey Dahmer enthusiast.
no, but he's a dark complected man, and he had a blonde wig on and a skirt.
I love it.
I was like, hey, it kind of works.
Love it. Is that the birthday
popped
cake?
the birthday cake.
All right.
All right,
Let's go.
Happy birthday to Boo.
That was lovely. Another good Halloween reference turned into song.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
This
All right, you
is
get-
strawberry, vanilla, and toasted cocoa nut.
Yes, I know this birthday cake boy is supposed to be after a strawberry shortcake.
Okay.
That's what they were going for.
It's got some clarity, which I am.
Fucking looks like a strawberry shortcake.
It actually tastes like a fucking ice cream truck strawberry
All right, well, now I have to
shortcake.
try it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never got around to trying this when it came out. What, like a month ago?
Well, around the birthday time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, as advertised. Which is one of the things I'll say about Atrium's like crazy beers. They are always very much as advertised. They nail those flavors. They really do.
So Spencer came up to me probably a month or two ago, and I was returning some grain or something. I was dropping something off, and he's like, "Oh, you got to try this. This is the dumbest thing we've ever done." And
I hear him say that a lot.
When he says that,
He
I'm
does
like,
say
"Here we
that.
go. That's what you said last time I was here. Let's drink it."
We've gotten even dumber.
I think it was one of the. It might have been blueberry, but it was like H on granola.
Yeah.
And when he gave it to me, I was like, "Dude, it just tastes like."
I do have
Sugar.
a can of
But no, it tastes like granola
Yeah.
and yogurt, and it tasted like what it was supposed to taste like.
Yeah,
So
that
as
lemon
far as,
parfait
like-
one they did, they like nailed. It was just exactly right,
Well,
right on brand.
that's
Oh
the
yeah,
one.
David. David has. Do you have like a belt that just has Atrium sour beers like on it down
They
there?
sponsored the trick or treat segment.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Did they?
They did. But yeah, go to Atrium for all your dumb beers if you want dumb beers.
And delicious regular IPAs, delicious Kolsch's, all the other good stuff.
all the beer is good.
All the beer.
It's just, I want one of Rubo just shaking his head.
Yeah.
That's it. Just-
My favorite thing at Atrium is the bourbon that Rubo shares with me.
Rubo does always have a good little bourbon stash over there, I will say.
Good stash.
Woo!
All right.
All right.
Cheeks tingling.
It's the acid. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hit me.
Yeah.
The acid hit this late. This late? All right. Well, probably call this one a night. But Brian, I want to throw it to you. See if you got anything to plug.
All along the widening gyre, the falcon calls to the falconer.
Cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. The blood-wrenched tide is loose. I lost it there too. But yeah, that's one of my favorite poems.
You got me farther than I would get on my
Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear
Amen.
the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Ah, yeah. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. Something. That's a great poem. Though.
The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon.
Little boy blue and the man in the moon.
Kentucky Commons karaoke hour. Everyone.
Tell me, son, when you coming home?
Barrel aged beer, huh? Ooh.
Michael, you got anything to plug?
Happy Halloween.
Yeah. I'd like to plug that at this point, I don't have anything to plug because all of our projects are kind of like coming to fruition this week. And so I guess I'll just plug, stay tuned to see whatever we have coming up next because we will start deciding that next week.
Let's plug 2023.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I
Buddy?
get a plug?
Yeah. What you got?
Plug your bone holes and keep them tight.
Wax them.
Wax them.
If you start to see fly
Keep them
larvae.
tight.
Yeah. Yeah. Come get some wax from Buddy. David, bring us home.
I'm gonna sign out with The Bride of Chucky. It's an absolutely fucking terrifying movie. If you happen to watch it, be afraid for me because I'm never watching it again.
Deal.
But yeah, this has been an episode from the Cellar at Monnik.
Happy Halloween.